Today we are going to be talking about affinity in Warframe. That's correct. And the reason we are talking about this is because, believe it or not, even high MR players still don't know how XP works in Warframe. Remember, XP in Warframe is just called affinity. This video was requested by Ville. He is a tier 3 sub and this was his video request. A huge thank you to you, Ville, for your ongoing support. I really appreciate it. I'm glad he asked me to make this video because, like I said, there is just a lot of people who don't know how it works. So let's dive straight into it. You gain affinity in Warframe through many ways. The main way is killing things. Kill enemies and you get XP. You then level up your weapons, frames, companions, which will in turn give you master rank, which will allow you to progress in Warframe. So understanding affinity and how to get the most amount of affinity is important. Now, affinity doesn't work the way that you think. It's a bit weird in Warframe. Affinity is split through multiple different ways. The way it works is as follows. There is a general rule in Warframe for the affinity split. Affinity is split 25% to your Warframes and 75% to the amount of equipped weapons. And this is when an ally kills an enemy. So let's say you have a Warframe and 3 weapons equipped, i.e. primary, secondary, and melee. 25% goes to your frame, 25% goes to your primary, 25% to your secondary, and of course 25% to your melee. But now let's say you only have 2 weapons equipped. It will then be 25% to your frames, 37.5%, 37.5%. And of course, if you only have 1 weapon equipped, it will be 25% to the frame and 75% to the weapon that you have equipped. However, this only happens if an ally kills an enemy. Because again, this is where it gets weird and confusing. If you kill an enemy with your Warframe's abilities, all of the affinity gained goes to your Warframe. If you kill an enemy with, let's say, your primary weapon, half of the XP goes to your Warframe and the other half goes to the weapon you used to kill that enemy. But if an ally kills an enemy in affinity range, you will get the general rule I just explained previously, where it's the 25% 75% split. Affinity range is a mechanic where XP will be shared amongst allies in a 50-meter radius. That's why when you see some abilities say affect allies in affinity range, just know it's 50 meters. It's just something for you to know. If you use an exalted weapon, that means you have no weapons equipped. All the XP will go to your Warframe when you kill an enemy with the exalted weapon. If you mercy kill an enemy with your Assassin's Creed blade, half of the affinity goes to Warframe and the other half goes to the last equipped weapon. If you are in an Archwing mission, the affinity range goes up to 200 meters, and if you are in Railjack, it is infinite. For companions, 100% of the affinity gained from you or your allies by any means goes to your companions. And when it comes to your companion killing enemies, it pretty much follows the exact same thing when it comes to the Warframes and weapons. Finally, when it comes to operator affinity, if you kill an enemy with your operator abilities, all of the XP goes to your operator. If you kill with your amp, 100% goes to the amp. And of course, shared affinity from ally kills will also follow the general rule I explained. Now, another mechanic I want to talk about is bonus affinity. You would have noticed by now, as you kill enemies and you check the mission stats, you will see the XP on the left and then the bonus on the right. The XP on the left is your actual XP gained, but in Warframe, you get awarded bonus XP if you complete the mission. This is just an incentive to actually complete the mission, and bonus XP allows you to max rank a weapon at the end, even though the weapon itself is not maxed. What I mean by that is the bonus XP stacks alongside your actual XP, and the bonus XP is an additional 125% of the base affinity earned. So this means if your weapon or Warframe gets to around level 20 to 21, if you press tab, you will see that it will say max rank, when in reality it's not actually max rank. It's only max rank if you extract. If for some reason, let's say you abort the mission and you leave midway, you will only get the base affinity you earned and not the bonus. This is why you can leave a mission midway if, let's say, just as an example, you only leveled your weapon to around rank 28 and you only really need to level 2 levels. So you go back into a mission quickly, level up the weapon to level 30, and then you can leave midway without extracting if your sole purpose is to just level that weapon 2 levels. So with all of this info I just dumped on you, what does this all mean? Let's go back to the general rule when it comes to Warframes and weapons. If you have a full loadout, it's a 25-75 split accordingly. But let's say your melee and your secondary is maxed, but you want to level up your primary that's level 0. Even though the melee and secondary is max rank, it still takes the XP gained, even though you won't see it when you check the mission stats. This means that it effectively steals the XP, which will then mean if you want to level up, let's say just one weapon, make sure to unequip any other weapon that is max rank and just keep that one so it will get the most amount of XP allocation. Just a quick example, if you want to level up your primary, just equip your primary and your warframe. That means 25% to your warframe and 75% to your primary. This obviously applies to any weapon. Sometimes if you want to just casually level up, you can equip 2 or 3 unranked weapons and slowly level them up, but it will be slower of course. This is entirely your choice. So what are the best places or ways to farm XP? Well, the most popular method is of course Sanctuary Onslaught and Elite Sanctuary Onslaught. For weapons, ESO is the best, and for frames, Sanctuary Onslaught is commonly used. You can also farm the usual XP farms like Helene on Saturn, Hydron on Sedna. You could also get Dark Sector missions which give you extra XP for specific weapons. And then we have the Silence Leveling method, which I have just made a video on. The Silence Leveling method is by far the best leveling method in my opinion. Yes, there is some preparation, but once you have it, it's something you're going to be using throughout the entire playthrough of Warframe, and it's very, very valuable. So I highly recommend putting in a bit of work and getting the Silence Leveling method up. The reason we use the Silence Leveling method is because we can make use of the Stealth Affinity bonus mechanic. When you kill an enemy that is unaware, you gain 100% extra affinity. This bonus goes up to 500%. This is a huge boost to your XP gain because you are literally getting 500% XP per kill. I will put a link in the description below. This can apply to weapons and frames as well. Now let's just say you are a Sanctuary Onslaught regular. How would you go about it? If you are wanting to level up your Warframe, you can't go to ESO unless you are MR30, so you will have to go and do normal Sanctuary Onslaught. Remember, there are 3 ways to gain XP for your Warframes. 1. Killing enemies with your abilities gives all the XP to your frame. 2. Killing enemies with a weapon will split 50% to the frame, 50% to that weapon. Or 3. Relying on your teammates to kill enemies, thus giving you XP with the general rule. Depending on the frame you're using, if you can, killing enemies with your frame's abilities is the fastest way to level your frame. Or if you are a higher MR player, you can subsume Gauss's Thermal Sunder on your frames and kill enemies in Sanctuary Onslaught. This is one of the best methods to level up your frames. Alternatively, you can just rely on someone nuking in Sanctuary Onslaught. For weapons, realistically the best way to go about it is to equip just one weapon that you want to level, or you can equip all 3, level them slower, and then head over to Elite Sanctuary Onslaught and rely on someone else nuking to get the most amount of XP. If you've ever wondered why when you yourself nuke or kill with, let's say, just your primary, you get little to no XP, that's the reason why. If you're wanting to level your weapons, it's best to have someone else nuking for you. Of course, it's different if you're using the Silence Leveling method, which is why I prefer it, because it's all you and you rely on yourself to kill and get the XP. The only reason you yourself would be nuking in Sanctuary Onslaught is if you are farming focus. Now, focus is an entire different mechanic in Warframe, but basically you just put a lens on your frame or weapons and it converts a portion of the affinity gained into the respective focus school. That is why people generally nuke in Sanctuary Onslaught, which allows us rats to leech off of them in Sanctuary Onslaught. So if you feel bad for leeching, don't worry, we all do it. And also, the people nuking are just farming focus or helping a friend. This, however, comes with a downside with that odd occasion you load up into a lobby and everyone is leeching. Then it's just awkward. Another very good XP farm is making use of your on-call crew. Remember, the general rule applies to allies. This includes your on-call crew. So a common XP farm is making use of a decent on-call crew with an AoE weapon. Go into a survival mission like Ilara as an example on Jupiter. Go in with the weapons or frames you want to level. Face down your on-call crew. Hide behind a corner. Rely on your on-call crew to kill everything. Once they die, survive a bit, extract, rinse and repeat. This can be done in a squad too, where you can all alternate your on-call crew to stay longer. This is a very good farm and you can level up quite quickly with this method. Now, it goes without saying, if you're wanting to level up as fast as possible, using an affinity booster is very important here, just for your own time. If it's just one thing and you casually leveling up, by all means go ahead. But please, for your own sanity, if you are planning on leveling multiple frames and weapons, save that goddamn 40 platinum and buy a freaking booster. The amount of times I've seen people level up multiple weapons and frames with no booster actually makes me want to cry myself to sleep. To add a little spice, ask a legendary friend or sit in relay and ask for a blessing, and you can get an extra 25% affinity bonus. To add even more sauce, get yourself a Smita Kavat and play the lottery in hopes of getting an affinity boost from Charm. I always use a Smita when I'm XP farming, it's just a given at this point. Otherwise, that pretty much sums up XP in Warframe. It may seem like a pointless video, but people actually don't know this, so it's important that you guys do know now. I hope you found this video useful. As always, a huge thank you to our channel members for your support. It really means a lot, and a huge thank you to you, Ville. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one.